So welcome back to the Slide Podcast. I am Coach Aaron. I don't like that one. No, let's don't do that one. So see, this is how we do it, Allie. Bryson, you've never brought us in from the opening. Why don't you do it?
Oh gosh. All right,
Come
here
on.
we
All
go.
right, here we go, Bryson.
All right, so welcome back to the Slide Podcast. I'm still no nickname Bryson over here. I'm with Coach Aaron and Allie Lacey, who we're going to learn more about today. So, Coach Aaron,
Yeah,
I'll let you take it away here.
yeah. We have a guest host on the show with us, Miss Allie Lacey. And Bryson, we really got to work on you a nickname. I think
Yeah, I know.
we just need to put it out on social media and let them, you know, pick a
Let them
name.
pick. Let them pick.
Yeah.
Yes, that may be a good idea. We
That may
may
be
need to do that.
dangerous, though. It may be dangerous. So,
Also true.
yeah, we might have to stick with whatever they give you, and I might just lobby up something fun out there. I don't know. But anyway, so we do got a guest host with us today, Ms. Allie. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm great. How about you?
I am great. Allie joins us from Los Angeles, California, I believe, right?
Yep, sunny SoCal. We just got through our winter storms and back to the sun.
Yeah, well, you guys enjoy it because we're still a little cold over this way. But well, thank you for joining us. So before we get any further, our guest today is Meredith McFadden. And so Meredith and Bryson actually know each other very well. Meredith is part of the baseball team at USC Columbia in South Carolina. I know that's very appropriate to say, especially considering, I don't know, Bryson, which one's the real USC?
I don't want to get into this debate right now, especially since we got SoCal with us right now. I don't know if I want to mess with that one. All I
That's
know is there's one of them that started first. The rest, I don't know.
See, I told you, Allie. So the other day I said, hey, Bryson goes to USC, Meredith goes to USC. And she was like, really? I should know her. And turns out she was thinking the Trojans. And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh. But
yeah.
well, awesome. Allie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to our listeners here.
Yeah, obviously Allie Lacey from SoCal, 28 years old, lived in the softball fast pitch world growing up, and always had a love for the Dodgers, being 9.5 miles down the road from them my entire life. Very lucky. I work as a ball girl for the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's probably the coolest job in the world. You see us on a bucket down the sideline in uniform, warming up the players, getting out of the way of the fair balls, and then fielding the foul balls. So just living life. I work as a substitute teacher for high school. I do some studio work as well, and then run a nonprofit. So the life of
Well,
baseball and nonstop.
that's so there's so many little things there that we could spend a whole episode on. So you're here because Meredith is on the show. So you mentioned you run a nonprofit. Tell us about that nonprofit.
Yeah, so it's a nonprofit 501(c)(3 for providing opportunities for girls in baseball to
Yeah.
develop, learn, grow, and play. Through this nonprofit, I had the opportunity to go coach in the first professional women's event since the AAG BPL in the 40s. And that's where I met Meredith down in Florida at the American Girls Baseball event.
Awesome. Well, and I know we are starting to see more and more of social media and everyone sharing, girls in baseball. Um, and, I honestly, I was very Allie and I spent some time talking yesterday, and there's so much that goes on in the women of baseball world that I think we just don't have any visibility to. I had no idea that there was a U.S. baseball women's team. And Bryson, did you know that there was a fast pitch men's softball league?
I did not know that.
And do they take a crow hop when they come off the mount when they come off the mound?
Now, I did know about the women's baseball league because this summer, when I was working with the Gastonia Honey Hunters in independent baseball, there was two separate teams that had women playing. One
Yeah,
of them was it the Staten Island? I think it was Staten Island
there she
was the
is.
team.
Kelsey Whitmore with Staten Island,
Yeah, yeah. And then there was one more, but I never met her.
Scrap Rose with
Yes.
the
Okay.
genomes.
With the genomes, yes.
Yes.
So I never met Scrap Rose with the genomes, but I did meet Kelsey actually. And I mean, it was crazy. So after the game, she's coming off the field, and the way the stadium works in Gastonia, you come up through the fans to go back down to the clubhouse. and she's coming off the field, and I mean, she's got people lining up to give more autographs than guys that are playing in independent ball that used to be in the major leagues. So I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Did
So
you get
she
in
played
line?
left field for him.
Did you get in
I,
line?
well, I was in the clubhouse, so I talked to her down there. I was like, I
Oh,
mean, my gosh, you're a big deal around here. I say, like, but
now
it was cool.
she's the girl that I think I'd asked yesterday, Allie. She's the one that's in the batting cages that I see on Instagram hitting 90 miles an hour pitches. Is that the one? Yeah.
Most likely, most
Yeah.
likely. She pitches, plays outfield for Team USA, the women's national team. She was the first female to play in the independent league over for Staten Island Fairy Hawks, and she's making really big waves for women in baseball and really giving the girls of the future an opportunity.
It was it was actually pretty cool to see, yeah, just to see everybody. I mean, and it wasn't just like the young girls that were getting her autograph. Like it was everybody. Like it
Well,
was it was pretty cool to see.
before my coffin spell there that I about fell out of my chair for, yes, I would have been in that line as well. Because I think here's the argument that we hear all of the time, right? So, and Allie, you and I talked about this yesterday is, the more that we see this, put out in the media and the more readily available it is now becoming of, little girls playing baseball, older women playing baseball. There's a lot of naysayers, of course, because it's different. What do you say to the guys that, well, can we go play softball now? Can we go do this? Like, I mean, because there's always going to be that opposing side.
Yeah, and I love when the guys instantly say, "Can we go play softball?" Because yes, you can. There's a men's national fast pitch team. A couple of my friends named Tyler Booley and Tyler Dupree played on it, and they've traveled the world playing underhand men's fast pitch. So there's a world over there that a lot of these guys don't know about, and it's really cool because the women's fast pitch team supports them, just like the men's national baseball team supports the women's national baseball team. So just continuing to grow the opportunities is really what it's about right there. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, and so you've had the opportunity to lead a team and multiple teams actually. Stella Bryson, for you, if you didn't know, Stella that was on our show with the Funky Monkeys,
Yeah.
she actually knows Allie, and
Oh,
yeah. So it's a small network, but going back to what I was saying, you've got the opportunity to coach many teams, right, and seen some ballers.
Correct, correct. I'm very lucky in SoCal, actually. I mean, we got plenty of good ball players, but social media actually kind of brought my 12 and under squad together. That's the squad we're taking to Cooperstown this year. Some of these girls didn't know each other and had never played with each other. They had just seen each other's social media posts and then all of a sudden started talking and wanted to start playing together. Now we've gotten them on a field to play together, and it's just really cool to watch that play. But social media has played a huge part in bringing a lot of these girls in baseball together.
Well, Bryson, I don't know if you saw the video that I posted the other night, but I think it was Baseball Ashland, I believe it was. And literally, she's flipping the bat behind her back in the batting cage and, I mean, bouncing off the knob. And, I mean, I can't even do it in front of me, let alone behind me. And, like, it's,
yeah.
and not to
I can't
mention,
either.
she crushes the ball. Like, it's one thing to do the stunts, but, like, the foundation's there. Like, the hips, the smooth swing, everything. It's pretty incredible. So, well, awesome. Well, we will be right back as soon as our guest joins us, and we'll talk to you then. And I think we're recording. So, we have our guest star back here with us. Actually, she's not back, Bryson. She's just got here. So,
Just got here.
yeah, you're supposed to catch me on that one. But so, welcome, Meredith McFadden. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Meredith McFadden, like, that's just like that perfect name that I can just see on billboards, like, in the future. Like, it's just got that Meredith McFadden.
It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it does. It does. So,
Sweet.
with all that being said, we've been super excited to have you on this show. So, tell us and introduce yourself a little bit and tell the world why you're here.
Oh yeah, so pretty much my name is Meredith McFadden. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, currently going to school at the University of South Carolina down in Columbia, and I'm loving every bit of it. I've been playing baseball since I was 4 years old, so I'm 19 now, so it's crazy to think going on 15 years of playing baseball. I grew up on the baseball field with my brother, my older brother. He played baseball as well. My dad coached. My mom helped out at the local like rec association, and it was just a whole family endeavor. And it's been my entire life since then. So pretty much playing baseball my entire life, being involved in the game in every aspect my entire life. And now at USC, I played all throughout middle school and high school on the baseball team. Never played softball. I was very lucky with my like coming up in youth baseball with like my opportunities and the acceptance in my community to continue playing baseball, and I was very lucky for that. And so I played all 4 years of high school, and now at USC, I have the opportunity to still be involved in baseball and working with the baseball team as the bullpen catcher.
Awesome. And so just for our listeners out there, so Bryson, no nickname Mitchell, he is the baseball manager. So these two actually get to go to school together and work on the baseball field with each other. So that's pretty cool.
And what she's not telling you is, I mean, my gosh, some of the guys she's catching right now are going to be first rounders. I mean, one of them for sure, possibly more on that staff. So these guys are throwing 96, 97 and throwing curveballs above 3,000 spin rates. And I mean, let's just say I wouldn't get behind the plate. I wouldn't do it. So,
gotcha.
I always tell someone it takes a special kind of crazy to step up into that position.
I would like to. I would love to try to catch just maybe one or two pitches. Like, because, I mean, if I put the gear on, I'm okay, right?
No.
Everybody's shaking their heads.
Nope.
No, not at all.
No chance. I mean, no chance at all.
I know how to catch, though. Like,
yeah, I used to be a catcher, and I still wouldn't do it.
No. All right. Well, look, I think we need to try this out. So, Bryson,
we'll get you down to Columbia.
Set us up. I'm gonna come down there, Meredith. We're gonna bring in a picture, and then I want you to show me. Look, we've been looking stuff for our social media. How great would it be if I got just clocked one good time with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and maybe I get knocked out? But hey, that's the kind of thing that goes viral, though. So
it is, but
I'm willing to take one for the team.
Viral. You would need it to go viral to maybe pay for your trip to the hospital.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if my health insurance covers that kind of stuff. So, Allie, you're the stunt person. So, what Allie didn't tell you, Bryson, is she does stunt work. So for Hollywood, but. See, this is a whole nother episode with Allie. Allie's just here as a guest host. We can't get that much into her stuff right now. So, Allie, you know of Meredith, right? Met her?
I do. We played against each other down in the American Girls Baseball event in Sarasota, Florida, a couple months ago. One of the first professional women's baseball events to be hosted since the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League in the 40s.
So the Peaches. So who won?
Peaches.
Which your team? Okay, Georgia Peaches. Is it the Georgia Peaches?
The Rockford Peaches.
Rockford. That's right. Rockford. And Allie, what was your team name?
We were. I was a coach player on the South Bend Blue Sox.
Okay. So Meredith, how bad you beat them?
I don't remember. All I remember, it was great baseball. It was actually really amazing to watch that level of baseball with all those girls of all like ages, backgrounds, everything come together and just play baseball. And it was just quality baseball all weekend long.
She's ready for interviews for recruiters. I can hear it. So, because she didn't really want to talk trash with Allie, but that's
she's keeping it classy. She's keeping it classy over there. She is.
So
our team won.
No, and at the end of the day, that's exactly what you're going to remember 20 years from now is that you had fun. It was a great baseball weekend, but we can still poke right now. But
that's what we talk about all the time. How many times that's another one of those where we need to add like the check marks when we say it. That's what you're going to remember in 20 years, not the score of the game.
That's right. So Allie, of course, is our guest host today, and Allie's specialty is really around women's in baseball and girls in baseball. And so I thought, who else to help us really talk to Meredith and tell her story than Allie? And so, Allie, this is you.
Oh, here we go. Well, one thing I think Meredith didn't go into was Team USA, a little bit of a special representation of the country. Let's go into that, Meredith. How long have you known about Team USA women's baseball national team, and how long have you been a part of it?
Yeah, so I have known about Team USA, I'd say probably since I was like 10 or 11 is when I really got exposed to really knowing about what like that there was girls and other girls in baseball and women in baseball. And so probably wow, 9 years ago at this point. And so one of the members on the team who's been on the team for a very long time now, Anna Kimbrell. She's from about 20 minutes outside my hometown in Fort Mill, South Carolina, and she's great. She's one of my really good friends now, and she's a very core member on that team. And becoming friends with her has been amazing to kind of train with her and see her entire like progression and like through women's baseball. And then I've been like, so the year I was eligible to start doing stuff with the team, the national team, was in 2020, and that officially got that unfortunately got cut short because of COVID. So they didn't have an open tryout, which is what they usually do every summer to get ready for a World Cup. And so that kind of got pushed back. So I got invited to my first event with them October of 2021. I went to a national team development camp with them, and that was where about 40 girls came down to Florida, and we just trained for like a week straight. And then so pretty much every year after that, like we do like development camps. This past summer I participated in the open tryouts, which were held in Minnesota, and I made the top 40 roster for that, which was very exciting. And then but I unfortunately
Congratulations.
didn't make the top 20 cut, which was the team that went to go play in Canada. But I'm still in the system, still trying to make that final roster. I just came back like 2 days ago from camp for the USA women's national team in Phoenix, Arizona, around Mesa area, and at the Cubs spring training complex, and that was a really good opportunity. Great staff, great facilities. It was a great time. So that's a good thing that we can keep having for us to continue our development, since a lot of us are from all over the country. We all can use those to kind of come together a few times a year to to work as a team, to get ready to put together a new team to go to the World Cup in 2024.
So was it the World Cup?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a women's baseball World Cup, and it's going to be held in Canada in 2024. And so we have a qualifiers coming up this summer, also in Canada, and then in 2024 is the World Cup.
So who's the team to beat? Who's the team to beat? Because in Little League, Hawaii just ran right away from it this year with Little League, but like there's always that country that you fear. Who is that country?
Probably Japan and Canada are some top contenders right now. Definitely.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Oddly enough, random, but in 2020, I was supposed to fly out to Florida and try out for the women's team as well. We could have been teammates at that time, or top 40 teammates at that time, but COVID did push that back. So kind of cool. You said the Cubs spring training this weekend. Who's the coaches out there? Who are you getting instruction from during the development camps?
Yeah, so some of the coaches that ran that camp were the manager for the women's national team, Veronica Alvarez. She's great. She has a great resume for baseball. She was a member of the women's national team for a few years, and now has been coaching for a few years. Ray Mendoza, the pitching coach for the women's national team, and Marita. He's from down in Miami Beach, and he came up to instruct the infielders for this camp. And then Rachel Folden, hitting instructor for the Cubs. She was working with our hitters this weekend. That was a lot of fun hearing from her and all the things she has to say. And then Jim Kerner, who's the field coordinator for USA Baseball and all their PDP events.
That's cool. Wow. Like
a lot of big time names.
I know. Yeah. I know. Like, why did you pick catcher? Like, why catching?
She's crazy.
Was it always catching?
Yeah, I fell into catching like whenever you start having a catcher for like Little League. So
Yeah.
I was probably 6 or 7, sitting behind the plate, little me. Just I think it was a way for me to prove like my toughness
Right.
and show that I belonged out there and kind of like, make my presence known. I was always
Yeah.
the loud one. Everyone heard me. So I like to have my presence known. So I think that was like the perfect fit for me.
Well,
Aaron, we've had a catchers on this show. We need to get like all the catchers together just for one episode. Like
yeah.
we have Meredith, we have the guy that
Chase.
runs
Yeah.
the guy that runs the catching stuff, and then we have John Mike. Allie, are you a catcher also?
I
I
was.
mean, oh my, see,
And
like
Stella's a
and
catcher.
Stella
Like,
was the catcher for the Funky Monkeys, and she loves catching.
and
Like
Easton, the best mullet on the East Coast, and he
and
catches.
the kid that was on your team last
Yeah.
year that
Yeah.
started catching. I mean, we have all ages. We have. I mean, it's insane. All levels, everything.
And it's
We need a catcher show.
the one position that I think we've discussed that probably gets the least amount of like technical coaching through
Yes.
like the early stages of baseball. So
Yeah.
sorry, Allie. Sometimes we get on these like
Sorry,
topics.
yeah.
So.
Oh, you're good. Catchers are crazy. I think it takes a special person back there. And it's actually interesting that a lot of the females that do play baseball and stick with baseball are catchers or pitchers because that's such a prominent position where they're either on the mound with the pace of the game, controlling it, or they're behind the plate in control of everything with the game. So I think it does speak a lot to some of these ladies that get behind the plate and then to be doing it at a college level. I think that's insane. It's a dream come true that you're living right now and helping to work with these college athletes. And I mean, what's next for you from that?
You know, I'm going to school. My major is exercise science, so I'm going to school to hopefully become an athletic trainer. But recently, having the opportunity to bullpen catch at USC, it's really shifted how I see my future, and I've realized that where I used to put baseball kind of on the back burner as like a second option, now it's becoming like evident that it can become a first option. So out of college, if I get the opportunity to be involved in baseball at the next level, whether it be bullpen catching, coaching, anything like that, I'm looking to definitely take that opportunity right out of college because I can always go back. But those opportunities, they don't wait around for you. So I definitely grab those opportunities if they're presented to me.
Now, do you get a chance to talk to some of the recruiters and scouts that come out to the game? Do they ever pull you aside and have a conversation with you?
So this is my first year doing it. So
Okay.
I'm not sure yet. Hopefully, just to that's my favorite part about all of this, like working with the baseball team, is the networking and just people I get to talk to on a daily basis and get to have those relationships with. Like Bryson was saying, some of the guys on the team, like one of them's pretty much going to go as a first rounder, and just being that person that kind of behind the scenes but helps them get there. That's amazing. And I know that they don't take me for granted and that they really appreciate what I'm doing there. So having those relationships with those people and continuing to like build those relationships and connections, I think is like really important to what I want to do in the future.
Yeah, and I will say this, like our team in general, like I don't know how it is. Obviously, this is my first experience with like it, but like our team in general has been like, I mean, yeah, like Meredith's just like one of us. Like they've been really cool about it. Like there's been no problems, and it's just like there's no, because she catches their bullpens the same way as anybody else can. So they've been really good about just not making a stereotype about anything. And I mean, Meredith was drafted. Like we have a few bullpen catchers just because class schedules and stuff. Sometimes everybody can't be there, whatever. Like Meredith was drafted in our Garnet and Black World Series in the fall before some of the other bullpen catchers. Like, it's not just like a show thing. Like it's the real deal.
Yeah, because I think and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure there's someone out there that's going to try to jump on this just to check a box, just to
Yeah.
say that they participated. Um, Meredith, I got a hard question for you, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. So, two things. I and Allie and I talked about this yesterday. What I hate about what you just said is something that you've committed your life to, you have dedicated, you have practiced, and that's not part of your future plans from a perspective of playing on the diamond, right? So I get cold chills saying this, but like that should be your dream, and I think I think this from this point going forward, that's what we're going to say your dream is to be on that ball field, because I think somebody has to do it, and I think when we use these terms like breaking the glass ceiling and some of these terms that's just thrown around so loosely, like take all that crap away. Like the fact is, you're catching a first round draft pick pitcher. Like who cares? Like stop putting a title on it, male, female, whatever. Like if you can catch it, like tell me, and this is where I'm putting you on the spot. Tell me why I would want to draft you over an equal to, you know, young man who wants to be a catcher. Tell me what you bring to the table.
I think a thing that I've really seen set, not even just me, but like women's baseball players apart throughout the years is just the baseball IQ that we bring to the game. It's a very different like perspective. And like you see this in other women's and men's sports, like the WNBA and the NBA. Like you see a WNBA game, it's very technical. It's very like textbook. It's solid, like good basketball. Whereas like NBA gets very like flashy or whatever. And I feel like that's kind of the same with like men's baseball versus women's baseball. It's very like women's baseball is very technical. It's very like good quality baseball. Obviously, it may not be like as hard throwing or as like quick running or as powerful hitting, but there are some girls that do compete with those guys like head to head in those types of things. But the thing that really sets them apart is the baseball IQ and like how just the pace of play happens and the like the different game decisions, because baseball is a very like it very depends on like the human aspect of it.
Right.
And so I think that's a huge thing that's been like separating women and men in baseball. It's very interesting to watch, and it's those things that you don't see, but it's those like game time decisions that really come into play.
So here's what I just heard, and I've worked in corporate America for way too long, but so I heard you talk about a difference of point of view, difference of opinion, all of those things. And some people may relate that to a company saying we want a more diverse workforce, right? And to me, a lot of companies say that, then they go through and they check their boxes and they move on. When in reality, what we're asking people to do is not accept people for like diversity reasons, but look for what they bring to the game. And I think that's very important. And I think you're starting to see it in the NFL. You're starting to see it in other sports. Is, you know, now we've got wide receiver coaches that are ladies. We've got cornerback coaches that are ladies. And there's a different perspective on the game. There's a different mind that thinks differently. So, sorry.
Well, and Vanderbilt's assistant or associate head basketball coach in the SEC, Jerry Stackhouse's associate head coach, is a lady, and they're saying she may end up a men's college basketball coach sooner rather than later.
Wow.
And so, I mean, the
I
SEC,
didn't know Stackhouse was even coaching.
Yeah, he's the head coach at Vanderbilt, and he and his right beside him on the bench is a lady, and they're talking about her getting a job like sooner rather than later because of how good she is, and that's the main thing they said. The same thing Meredith was saying about the technicality and stuff like that. That's why she was hired there, and you saw Greg Popovich do it with the Spurs, and so the NBA's kind of already done it. And I guess, I mean, if Meredith wants to end up coaching, like she said earlier, there's no reason you can't be the first one in the SEC to do it. I mean,
like even Rachel Folden, who I mentioned, she's one of the hitting instructors for the Cubs. She was working with us this weekend, and just some of the things she says, it's like she's like that's how all hitting coaches are. Like it's all kind of the same concept, but it's just like the way you say it, and like there's that one thing it's just gonna click with you. And I heard some great things from her this weekend, and on our last day we were there this past Monday. We were in their facilities in their spring training facility, and they had a lot of their spring training guys and rookie guys in there practicing and hitting in the cages right beside us. And she was like popping in their cage and helping them, and you could tell like they didn't even bat an eye because they knew that what she had to say was quality information, and they really appreciated all she had to say.
That's awesome. But Allie, I can see you just like beaming from just being so proud. So
I
awesome.
mean, it goes back to what you're saying about, right, like the dream stopping. The dream doesn't have to stop, because you ask these kids when they're little, what do you want to be when you grow up? And a lot of these kids, like Stella, are going to say a professional baseball player, a major leaguer. And that doesn't mean being on the field as the starting pitcher in Game 5 of the World Series against the New York Yankees. That could be, as I am, a ball girl down the line, as Veronica Alvarez is a coach with the A's. She may not always be in an Oakland uniform, but their minor league system, we see Rachel B with the Yankees, Rachel Folden with the Cubs. So being in a uniform doesn't necessarily mean being in the starting nine of a lineup, because just like South Carolina Gamecocks, if you guys win that title, everyone on your roster is a part of that win, all the way down to the bullpen catcher, all the way down to your strength and conditioning coach. So don't let not being in the uniform stop, because there's so many other ways you can do it.
Yeah, if you win the College World Series, me as a student manager, Meredith as a bullpen catcher, we all get the same freaking ring as the players do. Like, so I mean, they understand. Like, some people, obviously, some people somewhere a little bit smart and understand the fact that, what Meredith's doing and what other people are doing also make a difference to make things run to become the best team in college baseball.
Bryson, you didn't include yourself into that one.
Well, yeah, me too, I guess.
Okay. Well, look, don't be doing it just for the ring, Bryson. All right.
I mean,
got to put some work
listen,
into
I'm not
it.
doing it just for the ring, I know, but my gosh, would that be sweet?
I think it would. I think it would. Awesome. Allie, what else you got for Meredith?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the young girls growing up hear that they should switch to softball at an early age, right? When did you first hear that, Meredith? How did you deal with it? How would you tell these girls that are playing baseball right now, 12U, 10U, that are hearing it from these coaches that they should switch?
I've heard it since I was probably 8 years old, maybe even earlier than that. Like even in T-ball, I think like right when I started playing, it's always people coming up to my parents, oh, she's gonna have to switch to the other field, or like all these different things. Like I'm like 5 years old. And so I would just say like I was very lucky with my situation. I know a lot of other girls aren't as lucky with being as accepted in their hometowns or like have the same opportunities, but I say like find your place and fight for it, because you deserve to be there just as much as anybody else. There's a lot of like this is for boys and that's for girls, but like baseball is one of the very few sports that isn't like a what they call like a gendered sport, especially in high school. Like it's like football, baseball, and cheerleading. Like those are ones that they can't, at least where I'm originally from, like they couldn't tell you couldn't even try out. Um, so that was like one thing I say, if but the thing is it's not, nothing's going to be given to you. You do have to fight for it. And the unfortunate part is about being a woman in this male dominated sport is that you do tend to have to fight twice as hard for the same opportunities, which can be a little discouraging at the beginning, because you'll see like one of your teammates, a little boy, strike out, and the parents will be like, "Oh, it's okay, like you'll get them next time." And then a girl will strike out, and they'll be like, "Told you so. That's why you don't deserve to be here." And it's like that very big double standard, and I've been experiencing that since I was literally 8 years old. But it's takes a lot of like mental toughness and a lot of just kind of like keeping to yourself and knowing that you belong there, and really trying to stick through it if it's something you really want to do.
Now, when you were 8, 9, 10, 11, did you ever think of switching to softball because it was the easier route for you to take?
Honestly, no, just because it was a very different sport completely. Like I had never played it. All my best friends were in baseball. My brother played baseball, and it was where my heart has been from the beginning. And it's where it always is and where it always will be. And I just could never see myself switching. Like even once I started getting into like middle school and high school, everyone would say like, well, don't you want to like get a scholarship to play in college? I'm like, I don't want to sacrifice giving up the sport that I love just to get someone to pay for my school doing something that I'm miserable doing.
I love that. That's
Now, I have a question. When it comes to y'all may know this, I don't. Is there any females in college baseball like
Yes.
playing?
Yes.
There
There's
is?
a
Okay.
few.
yeah.
Okay.
So recently, one of teammates that's on the women's national team, I just was with her this weekend. Olivia Pichardo, she's a freshman at Brown University, and she just made the roster there. And she is a really good baseball player, and she deserves every bit of it. She walked on in the fall and got offered a roster spot.
And she becomes
Nice.
the first female on a D1 roster for baseball this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's a few others that I know of that are a part of the women's national team and not, that are a part of like different D2 and D3 rosters and JUCO all around the country.
You know what kind of blows my mind is the fact that you said she was the first one, and that was this year for D1, is the fact that there was females in professional baseball before in the independent league, Atlantic League, before there was females in D1 baseball. That is interesting to me. That because you got to think they're good enough to play professional baseball. They would be good enough to be on a D1 roster somewhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think you're on to some politics stuff there, maybe.
I think
Yeah, I mean, I'm
look
not
at
trying
Allie's
to-
smile. Look, it's okay.
I'm not.
You never
I'm not
know. You
trying to
never
push the
know.
envelope.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to push the envelope too much, but at the same time, I mean, what's fact is fact here.
Look, push it right off the freaking desk, Bryson. Like, don't baby step around this.
No, for real. We just want to be seen as athletes. And like you're saying, Kelsey Whitmore, who did play for Staten Island, she played Division I fast pitch. And I don't know what the decision was there. We hear it a lot of, oh, you can take the scholarship playing fast pitch. You're never going to get a scholarship playing baseball. Well, we're starting to be seen as athletes in these sports, not just a female baseball player. So like Olivia Pichardo and all the other girls and women that are in college, in high school sports as baseball players, I mean, they're coming for these scholarships because they are just as strong, fundamentally sound, and leaders on the field as these men.
Well, and I think that's all anybody should ask for. If I'm a head coach, you give me willing to work, willing to put in the extra time, and for any player, like with baseball, it's such a game of failure. If you don't live and breathe baseball, it's going to eat you up. So, but if I got anybody, like, because I think a lot of people here, we want a shot, or we want favoritism. I think that's what a lot of people want to hear. But in reality, you're just saying, I want a chance. I just want to fight. I want to fight like everybody else, and I want the opportunity. And from my standpoint, and I don't care where it goes across the board, like, give me the best player. Give me the most coachable player, and we got something to start with. So,
and you always hear how mental the game of baseball is. You always hear how mental it is, and about the failure of, they always say, if you're in the major leagues, you strike or you get out 7 out of 10 times your whole career, you're going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, like, go ahead and check it off the list of things we say all the time, but that's true. So why, if you have the same end of, like, I'm going to take it a step further here. If you have the same type of player, one female, one male, well, the female has 100%, like Meredith was saying, and like we've been talking about the whole time, like Allie was saying, the female has had to fight for everything twice as hard to get to that point. So that means I would probably bet my life savings on the fact that they're probably a little head stronger and can deal with adversity a little better. And the game of baseball is full of adversity. So why not take? That's not even a risk at that point.
right.
That's just taking what becomes the better baseball player.
So an investment. It's an
Yeah,
investment to what it is. It's not risk. It's investment.
that's not even a risk at that point, because if you have the same player, they've clearly already been through way more to get to that point. Why take somebody who hasn't and who would be the risk, because you don't know if they can deal with it mentally?
Dude, you're getting passionate right now. Like,
No, I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm getting a little fun. It's
like
my
this is
bad.
good. It's I don't know if any of our listeners are look like he's
Wipe
getting
those tears.
emotional. I know it. Meredith is Bryson speaking to your heart.
Yeah, I appreciate when especially like men in the game really get passionate about offering these opportunities for baseball for women, because that's really all we want is just the chance. We don't want a spot to be given to us. That's the last thing most of us want, is for anything to be given to us. We want to earn it just as much as the guys want to earn it. And I think just having that ability to have a just an opportunity to like apply what we have done, just have that platform. Because one of the things that I was like thinking, like the plan for me to be a bullpen catcher has been a long time coming. Like I had a meeting, it was kind of like a virtual camp during COVID. So in 2020, I was talking with now current front office member for the New York Mets, Elizabeth Ben. I was talking with her and saying how like I wanted to do this, and literally back in 2020 saying like I'm going to USC, this is my dream school, I think I can open this door for me to bullpen catch. And so since then I've been like, even like that year I was messaging the current bullpen catcher trying to figure out how to get into that and opening those doors, because I knew that going in to become a bullpen catcher for a pretty major SEC baseball school, that'll just continue to inch closer and closer to opening those doors. And I did have some like I was a little nervous going in. I didn't know how like receptive the coaching staff was going to be. The guys, having it being like a very like a traditional Southern school and with a pretty high baseball reputation. So I didn't know if they were going to be able to have that level of trust in a girl yet in that type of like position. So I was thinking, if I could do this, then that'll open up a lot more doors, enable that trust in coaches and players, even now that I'll continue to like, especially even what Allie's doing, like it's just like the small steps in opening up doors in women in baseball, like those little things, it's becoming more and more popular. And then you have women who are accepting these major like coaching jobs, and just building that trust to show that we do belong and we can be successful in it too.
Do you ever see, is there a lot of women in the major league scouting?
I know of a few
Okay.
personally, but yeah,
There,
they're
yeah, there's a few that come to even to our campus, scouting for different teams.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We're starting to see it more like the MLB's hosting winter camp meetings for women in baseball down in San Diego, which has most, if not all, of the baseball teams there, kind of promoting some of the opportunities they will have during the season,
Hmm.
internships at spring training facilities. So you are really starting to see women come up through internships and scouting, some of the diversity programs MLB hosts, coaches, so a lot of great opportunities. But what you keep hearing Meredith say is she's busting down doors and breaking down doors and kind of opening things up. I mean, that's fighting right there. It's
Yeah, it is.
nonstop fighting for the next generation. So not only is she trying so hard for herself, but she's also putting herself in a position to be a role model for who knows how many girls. Because you go to a baseball game and a little boy's got 28, 29 different adults he can look at as a role model. A little girl goes to that game at University of South Carolina. She's got one.
Yeah. I think again, I'm a cold chills kind of guy. So my favorite movie is Remember the Titans. So I love like motivational, like energy driven conversations. And Meredith, do you realize what you're actually doing though? Like with everything being said and all these doors you're knocking down, and like, does it feel like you're hitting a door and breaking through it when you do it?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like this is how my life has always been, and I'm kind of doing my thing, and that's always been the plan. Like in high school, like my plan was to play high school baseball. I knew it was kind of like something that was a little unprecedented, especially in like my area. But it was like no other option for me. It was like that or nothing. So for me, that was like the only option for me. So it didn't feel like anything too crazy, like me stepping out of the way. But for bullpen catching at USC, I can definitely tell like the doors it's opening and the impact it's starting to make, especially like I'm excited to see what happens with the season coming up and just have people coming out to the field, people start opening their eyes.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I just think it's amazing. Go ahead, Bryson.
You know, like Allie was saying about, Meredith will end up, she definitely will end up being role models for girls in baseball at Founders Park and just around the country. When people start hearing about it and things of that nature, we had Stella on the show, and the next day, me and Meredith talked about it. Meredith's like, I didn't know you did a podcast. I was like, oh yeah, how you know I do a podcast? She's like, oh, like I know Stella or whatever. Like like she already is a role model for
Yes, she is.
for girls in baseball, and so that's pretty cool to see. Like, I mean, Stella already looks up to her for what she's doing, and obviously Stella's also a catcher, and so I mean that's pretty cool.
Well, I can, speaking for myself, I've always challenged myself and most others that I come in contact with is leave a legacy, leave something to remember you by, right? And it can't be about money and it can't be about property, but leave a legacy that someone else can remember you, that you added value. And I think like there's going to be so many girls that come behind you that may never see your name, but because of the things that you're doing now, they've got the ability to do so. And I think that's incredible. And what I'd say is just keep fighting, because I don't think there's any, like, you got a future in baseball. Like I really think you do. And if we have anything to do with it on the slide, we'll get you there. So does that work?
Heck, I don't know if there's a female baseball bullpen catcher yet in the majors. So you never know. There's something to work for. A lot of the women, they're breaking down ceilings. They're starting to be the first in a certain position. But I think what's most important with females like Elizabeth Ben, Veronica Alvarez, they say that they don't want to be the last female in that position. And that's what this is all about, is opening these doors for the next generation. So don't give up on that bullpen catcher. They're a huge part in the major leagues. Our bullpen catcher at Dodger Stadium, Solardi, is great with the fans, and he's amazing with our starting pitchers, our relief pitchers, anyone on the team. So don't give up on that. I hope to see you out there in a uniform.
Yeah, hopefully.
Who was your catcher? Who did you look up to and sort of idolize and like as that role model catcher?
That's a good question. I think honestly, it's not like a pro player or anything, but who I was talking about earlier, Anna Kimbrell, she's now 32, I believe, still playing for the women's national team, and she's a catcher, their starting catcher, like pretty solid part of their roster, and she's been a huge role model to me to kind of to push myself and compete with her, because like we're obviously very different ages, but we're both kind of competing for the same spot, and just to kind of pick her brain at all times that I can. And I'm very lucky to be really good friends with her now. And so that's really cool to have that. And I see how good of a player she is, and have direct access to her is amazing.
Well, that's it. You just got to continue to build your network. And look, I'm going to tell everybody that you come in contact with, store them in your phone, label them so you can find them quickly, because look, whether we want to be involved in politics and networking, got to do it, and that'll get you there. So awesome. Well, we've been here for a little over an hour now, and Meredith, I know you're very busy, and we don't want to hold you up any longer. Any final questions, Bryson, Allie?
I'll keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
go
hope
win yourself a ring.
Yeah, you do. Go get Bryson a ring. That's what you need.
Go get me one.
Just go get Bryson a ring. All right.
We're in Omaha.
There you go.
Exactly.
Hey, and
Meet
Bryson,
us in Omaha in June.
All right. Well, we want tickets. If you're going to Omaha, we want tickets. So
Look, you and I can podcast while they're playing.
There we go. Look, so Meredith, you have any questions for Allie since Allie's here?
Um,
She's the bat girl for the Dodgers.
Ball
Yeah.
So
girl.
like, what's that? I'm sorry, ball girl,
Ball.
The ball girl.
ball girl. So she's the one that
um,
pulls the ball away from that fan that really, really wanted it and tosses it to that kid that don't even know what they just got. So look at her.
Correct.
yeah. I think like what was your like obviously not too into detail, but like what was your pathway to get into your position now? Like, was that your first step in the major league like kind of atmosphere? Did you have to like what came before that?
Yeah, so when I finished playing up college softball at Cal State Northridge, I went back to Pasadena City College to coach my former alma mater fast pitch team. From there, just continued to work camps and clinics. I really wanted to start getting into the fundamental side of catching because that was my first love. But I really loved baseball being so close to Dodgers my whole life. So I started working with one of my former teacher's kids, actually, who at the time were 7 and 11 or 8 and 12 and working fundamentals with them. And as they started getting older, I just started getting more connections, found my way at Dodger Stadium for the tryout and interview. And then from there, I've just been trying to work to get in some sort of developmental system, maybe their spring training, so not sure where the road's taken me, but honestly, I'm just enjoying the ride. I enjoy every little memory. Each ball game is a different memory. So take it how it comes. And honestly, I remember college fast pitch. I wish I could go back and put that gear on. So as you start your journey in college, just take it one game at a time. Don't forget to write down some of the cool places you visit because it goes by really quick.
Keep a journal. Keep a journal. You never know when that journal may end up coming back and turn into a novel. So never know. All right, here's the last question, Meredith, that we ask on this show, and it's probably one of the hardest. And if you've listened to the show, you've heard it. So you're walking up to bat. What's your walkout song today?
You in my high school walk-up song was Godzilla by Eminem.
Oh, okay.
Now
There you go.
I'm
Nice.
thinking I might switch it. It's Vegas. It's from the new Elvis movie. Going with
Yes.
Doja Cat.
Are you an Elvis fan?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Oh
look.
gosh. No, we better get off this
Hold
podcast
on.
or we'll be here all night
Hold
with
on.
Aaron and Elvis.
Hold on.
Oh gosh.
That's going to be your bullpen music right there. Let's go. Elvis Presley in the bullpen.
Listen, so my son thinks he's Elvis. My name is Aaron because I was named after Elvis, because Elvis Aaron Presley, and he died in 77, the year that I was born. So before people do all that math and figure out how old I am, I'm 45. But we are huge Elvis fans. So my 8-year-old son knows that whole soundtrack and like, I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy. So look, music is the great connector along with baseball. I mean, between baseball and music, you just can't go wrong. So that's why that question is a staple in this show, is because it always leads to so much more. So, but very cool. So you said, Vegas from the soundtrack, right? Okay. Because here's one of the things we're going to work on, putting together a Spotify list of all of our walkout songs that we had come up on this show, and we're going to put it out there so people have something to choose from. And there's some off the wall stuff, and there's some really good stuff. And I say it's off the wall just because I don't listen to it. Some of this stuff is. Anyway, that's a show for another time. Bryson, this is your turn. Jen's not here tonight. So for everyone listening out there.
Before we do that, I'm just going to give a quick round of applause to these two and what they do in sports. I mean, it's all, and especially in the game of baseball, it's a crazy world out there. And y'all two are leading the charge. So props to you two for real, for what y'all do.
Thank you.
For real. I mean, you can compare this to some of the things that have gone on in our nation throughout the years, and like you're part of something special. And
yeah, I mean, it could be in a history book one day, for real. That's the type of movement that y'all are creating.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you,
and it's just about following the love of the game.
That's it.
Yep.
It's all the same love that we all share. So
exactly.
Bryson,
right, you can do it, Aaron.
Bryson, I'll second you on that applause. So we'll add an applause track. Allie, thank you very much for coming on. I think you did a phenomenal job. Meredith, did she do okay?
She did really good. She had
She
some
did?
great questions.
Okay, I'm glad you
She probably
approved.
had better questions than we could come up with.
What the-
So good job. Props to you, Aaron, for getting Allie on this show.
Hey, look, I want everyone to have the best experience when they get here, and sometimes my weird questions may not just tell the story correctly. So props to Allie. Thank you. Meredith, thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much for joining us. Tell everyone how we can find you too on social media. Allie, we'll start with you. How can we find you and your tell us about the nonprofit and the title?
Yeah, so the nonprofit is called the Ball Girl Baseball Corporation. We are the Ball Girls Baseball on Instagram and Facebook. And then you can find me, Allie Lacey, on Facebook, and A84 Lacey on Instagram. 84 is my number at Dodger Stadium.
And that's her jersey number too, at Dodger Stadium.
Awesome.
So Meredith, how can we find you?
It's going to be mayor.mcfadden44 on everything. MER.McFadden.
Mayor.
Only the
Awesome.
cool people call her Mayor.
So yeah, I was going to attempt to call her Mayor during the interview, but we don't know each other like that yet. So when I come down and you teach me how to catch, and you have to wake me up with some smelling sauce, then I can earn my stripes. Call you Mayor. So, all right, we're done rambling at the moment. So until next time, Bryson,
We'll catch you on the slide.